I first saw Caio on a Tuesday night when he walked into Tasca da Esquina like he owned the place. He didn't. Senor Oliveira owned it, had for 30 years. But something about the way this man moved made everyone instinctively give him space. Tall, maybe 6'3", covered in tattoos that disappeared under his black t-shirt, dark eyes that scanned the restaurant with professional precision before settling on me. I was carrying 4 plates of bacalhau to table 6, trying not to drop anything when our eyes met. The impact was physical, like electricity, like recognition, like something inevitable clicking into place. He smiled, slow and dangerous, and I nearly dropped the plates anyway. My co-worker Beatrice whispered in Portuguese as I passed. "That's one of the Brazilians, the ones who've been buying buildings in Alfama. Don't stare at him." "Why not?" "Because men like that are trouble. Beautiful trouble, but still trouble." She was right about the beautiful part. Caio, I didn't know his name yet, was stunning in that dangerous way that made smart women stupid. Sharp jaw, full lips, shoulders that suggested he could break someone in half. Everything about him screamed violence wrapped in control. He sat at a corner table where he could see both exits, alone. Didn't look at a menu, just kept his eyes on me while I finished serving table 6. When I finally approached him, my Portuguese professionalism firmly in place, he spoke in Brazilian Portuguese, similar to ours, but with that singing Rio accent that made everything sound like seduction. "You're staring at me like I'm a problem you're trying to solve?" "I'm a waitress. You're a customer. I stare at everyone trying to figure out what they want. I want many things. Most of them aren't on the menu." His smile widened. "Start with a beer, whatever you recommend, and your name. The name costs extra. I can afford it. Mariana, and you?" "Caio, from São Paulo originally, living in Lisbon for 6 months now. And Mariana?" He leaned forward. "I've been coming here for 3 weeks. Always on your nights. Always hoping you'd eventually notice me." "I notice all my customers. But you don't look at them the way you just looked at me. Like you're curious and scared at the same time. Like you know I'm dangerous, but you're considering it anyway." He was right. I was considering it, which was insane because I had rules. Never date customers, never get involved with men who made my instincts scream warnings, never risk the careful life I'd built studying acting during the day and waitressing at night. But Caio made me want to break every rule I had. I brought him a Superboc and tried to stay professional. Failed miserably. Came back to his table 4 times during my shift, once to refill his beer, 3 times because I couldn't help myself. Each time we talked a little longer. Each time the electricity between us got harder to ignore. By the end of the night, he'd left me €100, tip on a €20 bill and his phone number written on the receipt. "Call me," he said as he left. "Or don't. But Mariana, either way, I'm coming back tomorrow, and the night after, until you say yes to dinner." "What makes you think I'll say yes?" "Because you feel it too, whatever this is. And you're brave enough to see where it goes." He touched my hand, brief and electric. "I can wait, but I really hope you don't make me." He left. I stared at that receipt for 10 minutes, trying to talk myself out of calling him. I called him at 1 a.m. He answered immediately, like he'd been waiting. "Mariana, I knew you'd call tonight." "How?" "Because you're not the kind of woman who runs from things that scare her. You run toward them. I could see it in your eyes." "You don't know anything about me." "Then let me learn. Tomorrow, dinner, not at the restaurant. Somewhere I can actually talk to you without your boss watching." I should have said no. Should have recognized that men who radiate danger usually have good reasons for it. Should have listened to the part of my brain screaming warnings. Instead, I said, "Where?" We met at a small restaurant in Moraria. His choice, intimate and quiet, the kind of place where you talked instead of just ate. Caio arrived wearing dark jeans and a button-down that made him look slightly less dangerous. Slightly. "You look beautiful," he said, kissing both my cheeks in that Brazilian way. "And nervous." "Don't be. I don't bite, unless you want me to." That's not reassuring. It's not meant to be. I'm not a reassuring man, Mariana. I'm trying to decide if I should lie to you about that or just be honest from the start. Try honesty. See how it feels. Over dinner, grilled octopus in Vinho Verde, Caio told me about São Paulo. About growing up in the favelas, about learning to fight before he learned to read, about doing things he wasn't proud of to survive. He was vague about specifics, but clear about the general shape of his life. Violence, necessity, choices made without good options. "I'm not a good man," he said over dessert. "I want to be clear about that. I work for people who do bad things. I do bad things for them. I've hurt people, scared people, worse. If you're looking for a nice Portuguese boyfriend who works in finance and wants 3 kids and a house in Cascais, I'm not that. I'll never be that." "What if I'm not looking for that either? What are you looking for?" "I don't know yet. I'm 28. I've been studying acting for 6 years, working in restaurants, trying to figure out who I am beyond the expectations people have. My parents want me married. My friends think I'm wasting my time on theater. Everyone has an opinion about my life except me." I met his eyes. Maybe I'm looking for someone who doesn't try to tell me who to be. Who just sees me, whatever that is. "I see you, Mariana, and what I see is..." He stopped himself. "It's too soon to say what I see, but it's something I haven't seen in a long time. Something real. Something that makes me want to be better than I am. You barely know me. I know you're brave. You called a dangerous stranger at 1 a.m. I know you're kind. I've watched you work. You remember customers' orders, their names, their problems. I know you're passionate. You light up when you talk about acting. And I know..." He reached across the table, took my hand. "I know I felt something the moment I saw you. And I don't feel things, Mariana. I've spent 15 years not feeling. Staying cold, staying controlled. Then you carried 4 plates across a restaurant and looked at me like I was a puzzle worth solving, and suddenly I felt everything." We went back to my apartment that night, not for sex, though the tension was thick enough to drown in, but because Caio said he wanted to keep talking, keep learning me, and I wanted the same. We sat on my small balcony, overlooking Alfama's tiled roofs, and talked until dawn. About his life in São Paulo, about my dreams of theater, about the ways we'd both learned to survive worlds that didn't want us, about violence and art and the strange magic of meeting someone who felt like recognition. When he finally left, kissing me softly, promising to call, I sat alone watching sunrise over Lisbon and thought, I'm going to fall in love with this man, and it's probably going to destroy me. I was right about both. We fell fast, saw each other almost every night for 2 weeks, dinners, walks along the Tejo, late nights on my balcony talking about everything. Caio was intense, attentive, present in ways that made me feel like the only person in the world. But he was also careful, never talked specifically about his work, never let me meet his friends, never stayed over completely, always left by dawn. I'm protecting you, he said when I asked why. There are parts of my life you don't need to see, parts that would scare you, that would make you run. And Mariana, I can't lose you yet, not before I've figured out how to keep you. Keep me. I'm not something you own. I know, wrong word. How to deserve you. How to be someone you'd want to stay with. He kissed me. I'm working on it. Just give me time. 3 weeks into whatever we were, Caio's brother Vicente came to town. I met him by accident. Caio and I were having dinner at a small tasca when Vicente walked in with 2 other men. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Other diners went quiet. Even the owner looked nervous. Vicente was shorter than Caio, stockier, with the same tattoos but harder eyes. He walked straight to our table without asking if he could join us. Mano, you've been avoiding my calls. Brazilian Portuguese, São Paulo accent, voice flat and dangerous. Then he looked at me. This must be the Portuguese girl, the reason you've been distracted. Vicente, this is Mariana. Mariana, my brother Vicente. The actress? Vicente said, sitting uninvited. Caio talks about you, constantly. Mariana this, Mariana that. It's concerning. Concerning how? I said, trying to match his directness. Because my brother doesn't talk about women, doesn't get attached, doesn't let anything interfere with work. Then you appear, and suddenly he's rearranging schedules, refusing assignments, acting like a lovesick teenager. He smiled without warmth. Our employer is noticing, and he doesn't like distractions. Cayo's hand tightened on my knee under the table. Vicente, not here, not with her. When then? You won't answer my calls. You're ignoring problems. Someone needs to remind you who you work for, what your responsibilities are. Vicente stood. We're meeting tomorrow, noon, the warehouse in Santos. Don't be late, and Cayo. He glanced at me. Think about what's more important, your job or your hobby. He left with his men. The restaurant slowly returned to normal. I looked at Cayo. What did he mean by employer? What kind of work do you actually do? Cayo was quiet for a long moment. Then, let's go somewhere private. I need to tell you the truth. All of it. And then you get to decide if you want to keep seeing me or if you want to run. But Mariana, I need you to hear everything before you choose. We went to his apartment. First time I'd been there, it was sparse, impersonal, like a place someone was staying temporarily rather than living. He poured us both whiskey and started talking. I work for the Comando Vermelho. It's a crime organization based in Rio and São Paulo. Drugs, weapons, protection, money laundering. They've been expanding into Europe, Lisbon specifically, for the past 3 years. I'm an enforcer. When someone crosses the organization, when debts aren't paid, when examples need to be made, I'm sent to handle it. I've been doing it for 15 years, since I was 18. My stomach dropped. Handle it? You mean... I hurt people. I scare people. Sometimes I kill people. Not often. I'm better at intimidation than elimination. But yes, I've killed when ordered. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not going to lie and say I haven't. Why are you telling me this? Because Vicente's right. My boss, his name is Duarte. He's noticed I've been distracted, that I've been refusing certain jobs, that I've been different since I met you. And in my world, different is dangerous. Being noticed is dangerous. Caring about something outside the organization is dangerous. So, what happens now? Tomorrow I meet with Duarte. He'll tell me to cut ties with you, to focus on work, to stop being a liability. Cayo took my hands. And I'm going to refuse. I'm going to tell him no. Which means I'm breaking rules I've followed for 15 years. Which means things are going to get complicated, possibly violent. Then don't refuse. Just break up with me. Walk away. Stay safe. I can't. Because Mariana, I've fallen in love with you. Completely. Stupidly. Dangerously. And I'd rather die fighting for something real than keep living this empty life where I feel nothing and matter to no one. Cayo, I know it's too soon. I know it's insane. But I love you. And tomorrow, when Duarte tells me to eliminate the distraction, to cut ties permanently, because that's what he'll say, permanently, which is code for making sure you can't be used against me, I'm going to tell him no. And then, I'm going to get you somewhere safe before the consequences come. I should have been terrified. Should have run right then. Instead, I said, what does cut ties permanently actually mean? It means kill you. Make it look like an accident. Remove the problem efficiently so I can focus on work without emotional attachments. And you're refusing that order. Yes? Which means you're betraying your organization. Which means they'll come after both of us. Yes. So what's the plan? How do we survive this? We? You're saying we? He looked almost shocked. Mariana, you should be running. You should be telling me you never want to see me again. Why are you staying? Because I love you too. And because I'm tired of living safely. Of playing small. Of letting fear decide my life. I moved closer. If we're doing this, if we're really doing this, then I need you to be honest. About everything. About the danger. About our chances. About what happens next. Our chances are bad. Maybe 20% that we survive. Duarte has reach across 2 continents. He has people in law enforcement and government everywhere. Running from him isn't like running from a regular criminal. It's like trying to escape gravity. But there's a chance. 20%. If we're very smart and very lucky, if we disappear completely, if we're willing to give up our old lives forever. I've always wanted to start over anyway. I kissed him. Tell me the plan. The plan was simple and desperate. Caio would go to the meeting, would gauge Duarte's mood. If there was any chance of negotiating, of being released from the organization peacefully, he'd try. But if Duarte ordered him to eliminate me, we'd run. That night, Caio had money saved, contacts outside the organization, safe houses. We'd go to Spain first, then Morocco, then somewhere the Comando Vermelho had no presence. We'd disappear. Build new lives. Hope 20% was enough. What about your brother? I asked. Vicente, will he help or hunt us? Both, probably. He's loyal to the organization, but he's also my brother. He'll give us a head start, maybe 12 hours, then he'll have to choose between blood and business, and I don't know which he'll pick. The meeting was at noon. I went to work at the restaurant that morning, told my boss I was quitting, family emergency, leaving Portugal immediately. He protested, but I was firm. Collected my last paycheck, said goodbye to Beatrice, who looked worried. That Brazilian? You're running with him, aren't you? How did you know? Because I've seen that look before. On my sister's face before she ran from her husband. On my cousin's face before she left the country with a man our family hated. It's the look of someone choosing love over safety. Usually, it ends badly. Maybe this time it won't. Maybe. Or maybe you'll end up dead in an alley and I'll have to tell your mother I knew and didn't stop you. She hugged me. Be careful, Mariana. And if you survive, call me. Let me know you're okay. I went home, packed one bag, essentials only. Passport, money, clothes, the necklace my grandmother gave me. Waited for Caio's call. It came at 2 p.m. His voice was tight, controlled fury. It's happening. He ordered it explicitly. I have 48 hours to handle the problem and provide proof. I told him I couldn't do it. He told me that's not how this works, that refusing orders isn't an option, that if I won't eliminate you, he'll send Vicente. And if Vicente won't, he'll send someone who will. We have maybe 6 hours before they come looking. Where do we go? Packlight, I'm picking you up in 10 minutes. We're driving to Salamanca tonight, crossing into Spain before they can coordinate tracking. From there, we improvise. Caio, are you sure? Really sure? Because once we run, there's no coming back. I've never been more sure of anything. I love you, Mariana, and I'm choosing you over every rule I've lived by for 15 years. Now pack. Fast. And don't tell anyone where we're going. He arrived in a black SUV I'd never seen before. Different plates. Untraceable. I got in with my single bag, and we drove out of Lisbon, heading east toward the Spanish border. Is anyone following us? I asked, watching mirrors. Not yet. They won't expect me to run immediately. They'll expect me to take the 48 hours, pretend to comply, then disappear. But I'm smarter than that. By the time they realize we're gone, we'll be in another country. What about Vicente? Will he warn Duarte? Vicente will stall. Give us time. Then he'll have to make his own choice. But Mariana? He reached over, took my hand. I need you to understand what we're facing. Duarte will put a price on our heads. Everyone we've ever known will be pressured. They'll track our phones, our credit cards, any digital trace. We can't contact family, can't use our real names, can't go anywhere the organization has presence. We're ghosts now, for the rest of our lives. Together, though, we're ghosts together. Together, always, until they catch us, or we actually pull off the impossible. We crossed into Spain at midnight. No problems at the border. Tourists didn't get scrutinized heavily. Drove through the night to Salamanca, then kept going to Madrid. Changed cars. Caio had contacts who asked no questions. Bought burner phones. Started using cash exclusively. In a small hotel outside Madrid, exhausted and wired on adrenaline, we finally stopped running long enough to breathe. We need a better plan, I said. Spain isn't far enough. Not if Duarte has the reach, you say? I know. We need to get to Morocco, cross the strait at Tangier. From there we can go anywhere. Turkey, Egypt, Asia, somewhere he can't easily reach. How long before he realizes you're not going to kill me? That you've actually run? Caio checked his phone, the old one, the one he was about to destroy. Messages from Vicente? 12 missed calls from numbers he recognized as organization members. He already knows. This message from Vicente? He's warning me that Duarte sent people to your apartment 3 hours ago. Found it empty. Knows we're gone. He powered off the phone, pulled out the SIM, broke it. We're officially hunted. They'll have people checking borders, airports, train stations. We can't use conventional routes. Then what do we use? Underground. I have contacts from my São Paulo days. People who move humans across borders for money. Not clean, not safe, but invisible to organizations like Duarte's. We'll be smuggled, like refugees, like criminals, whatever it takes. We spent 3 days in Madrid hiding while Caio arranged our crossing. Met with people in back rooms of restaurants, exchanged cash for promises, learned that getting from Spain to Morocco, outside official channels, cost 5,000 euros and required trust in criminals who might rob us or sell us out. Is there a better option? I asked after one particularly sketchy meeting. No, this is how it works when you're running from people with resources. You trust criminals over authorities because authorities can be bought. You trust people who hate the system because the system is owned by men like Duarte. The crossing happened on a moonless night, a small boat from Algeciras to Tangier. 12 people crammed into a space meant for 6, waves rough enough that everyone was sick. I held Caio's hand the entire 3 hours, trying not to think about drowning or being caught, or the fact that I'd given up my entire life for a love that was only 3 weeks old. We made it to Morocco, found a cheap hotel in Tangier's Medina, slept for 14 hours straight, too exhausted to even process what we'd done. When I woke up, Caio was on the balcony smoking, staring at the strait we'd crossed. Having second thoughts? I asked, joining him. Wondering if you are. You've given up everything, Mariana. Your job, your family, your acting, your entire life. For what? A criminal who's running from other criminals. A man who can't promise you safety or a future or anything except more running. I'm having second thoughts about the running part, not about you. I took the cigarette from him, took a drag even though I didn't smoke. But Caio, we can't run forever. Eventually we have to stop. Build something. Be more than just refugees from your past. I know, but first we have to get far enough away that stopping is safe. Turkey maybe, or further. Thailand. Brazil's out. Comando Vermelho originated there. Portugal and Spain are obviously out. Most of Europe is risky. We need somewhere Duarte's influence is weak. How do we know where that is? I've been thinking. Duarte's empire is Atlantic-focused. Brazil, Portugal, West Africa, some of North Africa. But Turkey, the Middle East, Asia, his presence there is minimal. If we can get to Istanbul, we can disappear properly. Build new identities, start actual lives instead of just running. How far is Istanbul from here? By bus and train, through countries that don't cooperate with Interpol requests, about 2 weeks of travel. By plane with fake documents, 6 hours, but much riskier. Let's do the long way. I'd rather be slow and invisible than fast and caught. We spent the next 2 weeks crossing North Africa and the Middle East. Bus from Tangier to Casablanca to Algiers. Boat to Sicily. Train through the Balkans. Each border crossing was a test. Would our fake documents hold? Would someone recognize Caio? Would Duarte's reach extend this far? We lived on bread and cheese and whatever we could afford. Slept in hostels and cheap hotels. Moved constantly. And slowly, impossibly, we stayed ahead of whoever was chasing us. In Istanbul, finally, we stopped running long enough to rest. The city was massive, chaotic, anonymous in ways that felt safe. We rented a small apartment in Kadıköy, paid 6 months cash up front, got jobs that didn't require papers. Caio in construction, me teaching English illegally. Started building something that looked almost like life, but we couldn't shake the fear. Every knock on the door could be them. Every stranger on the street could be a threat. We slept with a knife under the mattress. Caio checked the news constantly for any sign that Duarte had extended his search this far. 3 months into Istanbul, we finally started to relax. Started to believe maybe we'd actually escape. started to talk about futures instead of just survival. I want to act again, I told Kaio one night over dinner on our small balcony overlooking the Bosphorus. Not professionally, maybe, but community theater. Something that reminds me I'm more than just someone running. Do it. We're safe here. You should live, not just survive. What about you? What do you want? Honestly, this. You. Dinner on a balcony, normal life. I spent 15 years being violent, being cold, being whoever Duarte needed me to be. Now I just want to be Kaio. Your Kaio. The man who chose love over loyalty and somehow survived. We made love that night like we were celebrating. Like we'd actually won. Like the 20% chance had been enough. Then Vicente found us. He came to our apartment 3 days later. Knocked politely. I opened the door before Kaio could stop me, and there he was. Duarte's enforcer, Kaio's brother, the man who'd been chasing us across continents. Mariana, you look well. Better than when I saw you in Lisbon. He walked past me without invitation. Kaio, we need to talk. Kaio was on his feet immediately, positioning himself between Vicente and me. How did you find us? I'm good at my job. Better than you thought, apparently. Vicente sat on our worn couch like he owned it. Took 3 months, but I tracked you. Construction jobs in Istanbul paying under the table. Not hard to find Brazilians working illegally. Harder to confirm. But here I am. Are you here to kill us? That's why I came. Duarte's orders. Find Kaio and the Portuguese girl. Eliminate both. Proof required. 20,000 euros each for completion. Vicente looked at me. You're worth 40,000 dead, Mariana. Congratulations. Then do it, Kaio said. Get it over with. But Vicente, let her go. She's not part of this. Kill me. Take the proof back to Duarte. Let Mariana disappear. She doesn't know anything that can hurt the organization. She's just the woman you threw away 15 years of loyalty for. The woman who made you break every rule. The woman who proved that you, my brother, my partner, my blood, could be compromised. Could choose something over the organization. Vicente stood. That's exactly why Duarte wants her dead. Not because she knows anything, but because killing her sends a message. That attachments make you weak. That love is liability. That choosing someone over the organization means everyone dies. Then you'll have to kill me first, I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice was. Because I'm not running anymore, and I'm not letting Kaio die for loving me. Vicente looked at me for a long moment. Then he pulled out his gun, set it on the coffee table between us. I'm not going to kill you, either of you. Kaio stared. What? I'm not killing you. I'm telling Duarte I searched Turkey, found nothing, that you're probably dead already or too deep to find. He pushed the gun toward Kaio. But Mano, you need to understand. This is my one betrayal. My one choice of blood over business. After today, I can't protect you. I can't give you information. I can't warn you when other people come, and they will come. Duarte is obsessed. You defying him, surviving this long, it makes him look weak. He'll keep sending people until you're dead, or he is. Why are you letting us go? Because you're my brother. Because I saw you after you met her. He nodded at me. I saw you smile for the first time in 15 years. I saw you human, and I thought, maybe that's worth more than loyalty to a man who'd order me to kill my own blood over a woman. He stood. But this is it. This is me choosing you once. After today, you're on your own. If we meet again, if I'm ordered to come after you, I'll have to follow through. I won't have a choice. I understand. Do you? Because Kaio, you need to go further, deeper. Istanbul isn't far enough. Duarte will send others. Less sentimental than me, you need to disappear so completely that even I can't find you. Can you do that? Yes. Good. Because I want you to survive, Mano. I want you to have what I've never had. Something real. Something worth fighting for. But I can't save you twice. He moved to the door. Take care of her. She must be incredible if you'd give up everything for her. She is. Vicente left. We stood in our apartment holding each other, processing what had just happened. We'd been given a second chance, a gift, a temporary reprieve from death. "We leave tonight," Caio said. "Vietnam, Laos, somewhere so remote even Duarte won't bother looking. Somewhere we can actually stop running." We did. Flew to Bangkok, then took buses to a small village in northern Thailand near the Burmese border. Found work teaching Portuguese and English, rented a small house, planted a garden. Built something quiet and real, and far from the violence that had defined our lives. And we lived. Not perfectly, not without fear, but we lived. 5 years later, we were still in Thailand, still using fake names, still looking over our shoulders, but also married in a small Buddhist ceremony, running a language school, teaching local kids, building community. One day, Caio got news through an old contact. Duarte was dead, killed in a turf war in Sao Paulo. The organization fractured. The hunt for us ended not because we'd outsmarted them, but because the man obsessed with finding us was gone. "We're free," Caio said, reading the message. "Actually free. We could go back. To Portugal, Brazil, anywhere. Do you want to go back?" "No, because this..." He gestured at our small life, our school, our garden. "This is everything I never knew I wanted. This is what choosing you gave me. Why would I go back to anything less? We gave up our old lives for this. And I'd do it again. Every time. 20% chance be damned. You were worth it. You're worth everything." We stayed in Thailand. Never went back to Portugal. Never saw our families again. The cost of loving each other was enormous. Our homes, our identities, our pasts. But what we built in exchange was ours. Real. Chosen. Worth every sacrifice. Sometimes I perform. Local theater, teaching kids acting, keeping that part of myself alive. Sometimes Caio trains fighters, teaching them to protect themselves without becoming what he was. We're not the people we were. We're better, harder, more real. Two people who chose love over loyalty and somehow survived. Two people who proved that 20% was enough when you were willing to fight for it. It wasn't the life I'd planned. It wasn't safe or easy or anywhere near normal. But it was ours, and that made it perfect. Thank you so much for listening to this story. If you enjoyed Mariana and Caio's desperate race across continents, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Would you have run with Caio? Or would you have chosen safety over love? I love hearing your thoughts on these impossible choices where ordinary people are forced to decide between everything they know and a dangerous love that offers no guarantees. If you're new here, consider subscribing because I post stories like this every day, exploring what happens when people choose connection over safety and have to fight for survival together. Drop a comment with what kind of story you'd like to hear next. Maybe another international chase story or something completely different. Your suggestions help shape what I create. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.